My name is Dan Dorval, and I'm President and CEO of Dorval and Chorne Financial Advisors. I am an independent certified financial planner and author of my book, Financial Success for the Rest of Us, Reality-Based Financial Planning for Mainstream America.
Hi, my name is Leah Woodley. I'm an associate financial advisor with Dorval and Chorne Financial Advisors. Our conversations discuss what it means to do quality of life planning in all areas of your life. Dan, I'm so excited. We are going to be presenting our first Quality of Life Nurses Award. I just want to get some background on why we started the award. Go ahead and let me know.
So the award was something that you and I have talked about for a while now. And, we're privileged to serve over 20,000 nurse households through our group advisory agreements. And I've helped thousands of nurses over the years. I've helped hundreds of them retire. I've heard so many stories about how nurses are doing amazing things for their patients, for their peers, for their communities. And we wanted to take an opportunity to be able to give back to these nurses. I can tell you this week, I met with a couple of different nurses, and just to share very basic stories that we hear all day, every day. One of them is retired, and she was talking about her experience as an emergency room nurse. She talked about how they were, physically assaulted, how they were verbally abused, how they had to, take care of things that you and I just never have to deal with in a day-to-day basis. Horrible, horrible things with people dealing with, bad health or death in a family or all of those things. And then we had another nurse come in and talk about how she had, worked a 16-hour shift because they were understaffed. And nurses pick up for each other all the time. And we don't realize, I mean, can you imagine how difficult that is working in that high stress environment, working a 16-hour shift, coming back the next day and having to do some of that all over again. And so we see nurses with, PTSD because of different things they've experienced. They have a very, very challenging work life. And we get the opportunity to help them improve their quality of life through financial planning and advice. But we also wanted to acknowledge their enormous contributions to society through this Quality of Life Nurses Planning Nurses Award. And today, we get to announce our first recipient. Now, I want to give a little bit of background so that people understand going forward. What we are doing is we are taking nominations at all times for nurses that are improving quality of life. And that could be, like I said, for their patients, it could be for other nurses, or it could be something they're doing in their community. And it doesn't have to be something huge or, completely unusual. It might be a nurse just their smile brightens your day every day and keeps you going. That enhances quality of life. And we want to acknowledge that. So every month, on the first Thursday of each month, we are going to announce a winner of our Quality of Life Planning Nurses Award. That person will receive a $500 cash award. So this is a real award. They're not paying us to get the award. We're giving them money for their award to acknowledge their wonderful contributions. And this is just something that, we felt it was important to do for the nursing community.
Well, I'm so excited for the opportunity to even do this. Let's get into our first awardee.
So after, much consideration, our very first award winner is Amanda Boyd, who is running Nurses in Tech. She is putting in the work to try to help other nurses through career change and trying to enhance their quality of life. So we are going to welcome Amanda Boyd and give her an opportunity to talk about her mission and what she has going on.
Amanda, we are so excited to honor you for our first Quality of Life Nurse Award. tell us about what you are doing with Nurses in Tech, why you started it.
Okay, yeah. Good morning. So thanks for having me. I really, really appreciate you guys more than you know. So I'm Amanda Boyd, the founder of Nurses in Tech. So we are a membership community for nurses that have an interest in finding their place at the intersection of nursing and technology. Nurses in Tech was founded, the idea actually came in 2021, but became a breathing, moving thing in 2024. So through my own experience, just transitioning in 2018 from being a director of nursing to a software developer, I wish I could say I did it because I knew that technology was going to be great or that I knew COVID was coming, but that is not the truth. I did it because I was dealing with a lot of health issues at the time, and had been just physically becoming less and less able to continue the strenuous schedule and things that I was doing in nursing. So because I was a single mother of 5 at the time, I still had to make money. So I decided the best next thing to do was to go into tech because that's where money was. And so did that. And I worked in some other roles and took some other programs. I ended up finding myself right in the intersection of like marketing sales is like a sales enablement professional, and then really became the go-to for being able to help companies find leads and really be non-traditional with their marketing strategies and things like that. So I was sitting in a meeting at my company I was working at the time, and I thought to myself, first of all, I was in a meeting that had nothing to do with my job. It was just a health tech company, and they were meeting with a potential partner, and they invited me to the meeting. And in the intros, they say, "Oh, by the way, Amanda Boyd is on the call with us. She is a registered nurse." Da, 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 da. But the meeting had nothing to do with what I was doing. So this particular time I sat and I thought, why am I really here? Like, this is stupid. It's a waste of my time. I have other things I should be doing. And so I realized that's when the light bulb went off. Like, me being a nurse at this company meant something to them. Even if they didn't know exactly where to put me or how to utilize my skills, I thought it was even crazier that I didn't even know what skills I had, could not verbalize. And by this time, I had been working in tech for about 4 or 5 years. And so I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, I'm super sick at this time. I have 5 kids. I'm making good money. I'm working remotely at a good company. This should have been easier. Like, did I really have to go through all these programs? Like, I went through several accelerators and racked up like another $120,000 in ISA debt. Not to mention just the mental and emotional, agony of going through new companies, being turned down on interviews, being at companies, being reprimanded for things that I didn't know or understand, and then figuring out one day, like, tech is not exactly like nursing. Like, they kind of make these things up as they go, right? Whereas in nursing, a thing is a thing. You have labs, you have books that you read, you have protocols you go to. In tech, they're like, hey, you didn't do this. And you're like, well, where was that at? And they're like, oh, it's just something we're starting. And you're like, well, how are you reprimanding me for something you don't even have a protocol for, right? So in this thought, I thought to myself, if I would have, this should have been easier. Like, what if nurses could actually, first of all, nurses are needed in tech, but what if nurses could actually have a way to, like, meet other nurses that are in different roles? How, if they could learn about the roles, learn about the opportunities, have the support, have conversation that they need, I could have gotten that done much easier. So that is why Nurses in Tech was created. At least that's the long answer.
Well, that is a great story, Amanda. And part of the reason we are acknowledging what you're doing is just putting in the work. I mean, you've got 5 kids, you've got a lot going on, and yet you're putting yourself out there, taking the risk and helping other nurses. And that's something that, certainly inspires us. And it's something that we wanted to acknowledge and make sure that other nurses were aware. We deal with a lot of career changers,
Yeah.
and nurses, that's something that they're dealing with every day. And I had not heard of Nurses in Tech. We met a few months ago. I was super impressed by what you're doing, and so that's why we're acknowledging you today.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I will tell you. So, I just got married on Saturday. I came back to Nurses in Tech on Tuesday. Actually, I really came back on Monday, but you guys saw me on Tuesday. But just even in the few days that, I've been back in meetings and things, the motivation and inspiration is probably the one thing I keep hearing from not only our members, but also from other people that are interested in not only joining, but working with us. And I would like to say that I thought I was an inspiration before this week, but I really didn't set out to be an inspiration. I set out to create this community where nurses could just get together, and it's really I guess the best word is it's really humbling to my heart to hear individuals say that I'm inspiring them to just go after, what they believe. Even yesterday, I was in a meeting with a investor, and she said, it's great what you're doing for nurses, but I want to know how can we get women together? Because you're inspiring me. And she says, you're full of moxie. And I said, what is moxie? And so she explains to me what moxie is. And I said, oh yeah, that's me. I'm full of that. It's like the gall and the audacity to go after what you believe, despite what people say or what they think. And so that I putting in all the hard work and the time and the effort and the energy, although I love what I'm doing at Nurses in Tech. So it doesn't always feel like it's work, except for the fact that I have 2 other businesses that are getting no attention, and I'm contracting that work out to somebody else. So I'm not making any money from that. But nonetheless, it's worth doing the work. It's worth putting in the effort. It's worth making the connections. It's worth having the conversations. It's worth the trials and the errors even, as long as it is inspiring other people to just do and go after what they believe. Like, don't wait for a roadmap. Don't search all the business consultants and all the business leaders and all the coaches. If God gave you a vision, God has said, this is a thing that you have experienced and you have a solution to fix this issue, just do it. You might fail. That's okay. There's lessons in failure. But the other part of that is you might succeed. And you can never succeed if you don't fail. And so I think as individuals, especially in the time we're living in, we have to not only challenge ourselves, but challenge each other to think about things differently. If we keep doing things the way we've always done them, we're going to keep getting the results we've always gotten, which we all know doesn't work.
Right.
Well, that's an amazing philosophy. I mean, it applies in so many different ways, and we hear that type of thing from nurses all the time. Quality of life comes from growing as a person and putting yourself out there, and failure is part of that. And we all grow through that process. So we appreciate you. We appreciate you joining us for this inaugural Quality of Life Planning Nurses Award, and appreciate you joining us this morning.
Yeah, well, thank you. I didn't even know this was the inaugural, but I appreciate you guys. I appreciate all your support. I'm looking forward to learning and growing with you guys and supporting you guys and what you have going on. And I'm really excited to see where Nurses in Tech is, especially with you guys in our partnership in the next year. I think a lot of great things are going to happen. I'm glad that you guys are a part. So thank you, and I appreciate you so much.
Thanks, Amanda.
Thank you so much, Amanda.